Good morning. So I'm back out at Broad Clough, where I was a few weeks ago, and today I'm going to explore Broad Clough itself. I'm not sure what today's walk is going to bring me. Never done this before. That's the fun thing about explore walks. You don't know what's in store for you. We might succeed, we might fail, we might find something interesting, it might be boring. But stick with me and we'll find out together. There's definitely more water flowing today than last time. So pretty much immediately I'm faced with a choice to go that way or to go that way, and I am very torn because most of the water is coming from this way, so this way looks more interesting, but I was thinking that maybe I might find or might be able to find some kind of trace of the old shooting cabin that I looked for last time. Last time I was on the other side of the fence line up there, and I did think maybe if I walked up here I might find a trace of it. So I've come up the left side and I've got a bit of a problem. It's a fence with barbed wire on top. You can see where there would have been stiles to get across. Stiles have been removed, which is really not on because this is access land. So if they are going to fence it off and put barbed wire up, they do need to put stiles or gates so that people can get across. I can see what looks like to be a gate right there, but without, because the fence line with the barbed wire continues all the way down, so I'm going to have to go all the way down again and come back up again to get through that fence, to get through that gate. I might be able to get through there, I might be able to squeeze through there, but I don't fancy it. So I've just followed the fence along and I'm now midway between the two branches of Broad Clough. It looks like we've got a similar situation there, but I will go down and see. But there is this gate here which is padlocked, but I can get over there. There's no barbed wire over it. As I say, this is all access land, so it's not trespass or anything. But let me just go down and have a look at this. Okay, well, I'm over. And now I could either go down to that side or back over to this side. This barbed wire fence makes no sense at all. There's not even any livestock in that area. There is a path just there, the other side of the barbed wire fence. So you could get to that path and then you could come down. So we do have stones here. And it's a bit strange because if it is dry stone wall, it doesn't really continue, or does it? Okay, this is a contender, but I'm not convinced. Okay, no, it looks like that was just a section of dry stone wall, because there are more bits of it along here. Quite a bit of it over there by the looks of it. So as far as I can tell by trying to orientate myself with the old map from 1882, which is the only map, in fact, which shows this shooting cabin. It was gone by the time the next map came out. This wall here is the old boundary, and the shooting cabin was fairly close to where I am now. If there is anything left, it's just going to be foundations, I expect. Maybe a little bit of rubble, but there's so much thick bracken around. You could be right next to it and not see it. That's the fence I was walking to the other side of. So regardless of whether I find it or not, I'm really enjoying this explore. It's so peaceful here. I mean, I know I'm off path, but even the path that is just over there, there's no one on it. I've not got very far because there's a lot of back and forth. This spot certainly has potential. It almost looks like it's been leveled, and it's around about the right size. But there's just no evidence. I would expect something. Well, I'm getting to the point where if the map was accurate, then I'm past where it would have been. And I found no evidence, no firm evidence. I found a couple of potential spots, but none of the rubble that you would expect. It could be this, but I don't think so. That looks natural. This is what I've just said looks natural, but there are bits of rock. Could they have used the natural rock in the construction? This has potential, although it's a little bit further up than I thought. There's even bits of rock on the ground. Could this be it? I'm really not convinced, but it's probably the best contender. Although this rock outcrop is natural, it could have been used. It's flat, it's about the right shape. There are slabs of rock on the ground, which for me is probably the biggest indicator. There's another little pile of rocks over there, which doesn't make sense because they're all by themselves. This is the wall. So This is possibly it. Possibly the old shooting cabin. I don't know, the jury's still out on this one. It's probably the closest contender, but it doesn't quite work. Look at this tree though. So maybe it was actually this side. This pile of rocks doesn't look natural. It's not part of a wall. It's just a pile of rocks. Maybe it was here. More stones here. Yeah, I think potentially here. Oh, it's really close to the water as well. Liable to flooding, potentially. Maybe that's why it didn't last very long. Well, I know that the old shooting cabin was this side of that wall there. So I'm definitely past where it was. And as soon as I'm through here, past this wall, I'm actually on the edge of the old Mill Stone Quarry again. So this is the point where Broad Clough subdivides again. This bit is the middle section. And this is the most northerly section. So for now I've stuck to the northern side. Okay, we got the sink ruin over there, the shooting cabin that used to be a stonemason's hut and has this stone sink sitting there. That's just there. I could continue and go directly up, but I've only explored one of the channels of Broad Clough and I want to explore more. I've cut across to the middle section, which has surprisingly high and steep sides to it. I can hear the water, but I can't see any waterfalls or anything. Up there is are the three knolls. It's very quiet today. Even the car park was quite quiet, especially compared to last week. I don't know if the weather's put people off, but I've not seen anyone since I left the car park. Normally you can hear people up on the plateau, on the edge path. I've not even heard anything. So this is I'm going to say top, but it's not properly the top, or maybe it is. I'm going to say top of the middle section. I've come up along the top side through the heather, and it's really tough going. So just below the plateau, it all kind of levels out here, and then you've got these steep tops of the clough going up Kinder Scout. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Look at the mist coming down. So here the middle section of Broad Clough splits, half going up that way, half that way. Well, strictly speaking, I should say half coming down this way, half coming down this way. But there's virtually no water flowing once you get to this point. There's just so many choices and decisions as to where to go next, where to walk. I could go up there, I could go up there, I could go back and go up there. But there's still the other part of Broad Clough. The part that at the bottom had the most water flowing. And I kind of want to go down via that. Getting some nice views of the Knot now, where I was last week. And I can hear people now on the top. I can't stop taking photos and video of the views. Look at it. It really wouldn't be too much trouble to get up there. This next one has a few more boulders. It looks a bit more interesting. Look at the patterns on that rock. Almost looks like a brain. And some of the lichen or algae on top is it's got a red tinge to it. It'd be pretty easy to get up there as well. Nothing particularly challenging about that. There's no flowing water as such on the surface, but look at all this moss. There's a lot of water just under all of that. So that was a very good lunch spot, but yeah, it's a bit chilly sitting in the damp mist. So right at the very bottom of Broad Clough, where I had to climb the fence, the clough split into two, and I took the left-hand side, which then split again. Well, the right-hand side also splits. So we've got one here and then one over there. I think what I'm going to do is go down one of them, whichever one looks most interesting, which is probably the furthest one. The one I'm closest to. It looks quite shallow. And I keep going to the very far right hand fork of Broad Clough, which does look a lot deeper than this one and some of the others, and I'll go down that one. I tell you, it's not easy. Cutting across here. So I'm just coming up to it now. The Three Knolls path, the lower path, is just there. it wouldn't be much of a challenge at all to get onto it from here. So I'm pretty much stood at the furthest uppermost part of Broad Clough. I'm just going to follow it straight back down. Still extremely claggy. So just like all the other branches of Broad Clough, this begins quite abruptly here. Then you've got a relatively gentle slope where there's not much to see before the sharp ascent up to the plateau. So this is where the clough begins proper. I can hear flowing water. There was nothing flowing up above the surface where I've just walked down. This spot is truly magical. Look at all this lush vegetation. Someone's been planting trees, although not recently, I don't think. So reaching the point now where one of the split parts joins together. We've got the first significant waterfall. If anything, I think the clag's getting worse. Look how clear the water is. In its own way, this is very impressive. There's massive force behind this water, and yet it's in this incredibly narrow channel. This is pretty cool. This is one of the spots where it splits. We got a dead tree collapsed over the other part, and all these rocks and boulders. So I was definitely right earlier. The right hand side is by far and away the most spectacular. This is really good fun. I'm really enjoying this. That's pretty deep, that is. That's pretty deep. So I'm back at this fence line, the barbed wire fence, where I had to climb over the gate in the middle this morning. That was really good, really enjoyable. Climb back over the fence for the remaining tiny little bit. I'm going to go over here because this morning I followed the other side up. There's about 20 million people over there. Unfortunately, they're coming this way. I'm going to have a sit down here. Still quite early. I'm going to give them plenty of time to go wherever they're going. That was a tremendously good walk. I really enjoyed that. I haven't done a good Clough explore walk in ages, it feels like. Broad Clough is well worth a visit. I'd say it's essential to come here. I wouldn't bother again with the other side. I would go to this side, the right hand side, and follow this up, and then maybe do something at the top, maybe get onto the plateau. It's not difficult, I don't think, to get onto the plateau, or at least to get onto the Three Knolls path from the top. Oh my god. Where the hell was that hiding? Not even sure what that was. Where was I? Where was I? Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bother with the any other part of the Clough. It splits multiple times, but the right hand side is the side you want to be going up. I'm glad I fully explored it today. You just have no idea until you explore. There could have been loads of good stuff on the other parts of the Clough. You don't know until you have a look. The main reason for going up the other side, apart from fully exploring it, was to see if I could find any trace of that old shooting cabin, and I may have found it, but I'm really not convinced that I did. let me know in the comments what you think, whether that was the remains of the shooting cabin or not. But yeah, really good fun, really enjoyed it. But one thing I wanted to say as well, if you look at the map, if you look at the Ordnance Survey map, you would have no idea that any of this was here. This is why I like to get out, get off the path and explore, because you never know what you're going to find. I did say at the beginning of this walk that on all explore walks, it's a genuine mystery as to what you're going to find. It might turn out to be rubbish. You might not even be able to get across a fence or a wall, and you might not be able to do the walk at all. But I'm so glad I came out today and did this. There's still a little bit more to see. It's just a pity that we can't walk the very final section, because it's in that really beautiful bit of private woodland.